to hand it off to Kurt. Kurt's going to show us how to get started with Tableau CRM, what's available, what's included, and all the enablement that we offer. And then finally, to close us out, we're going to pass it off to Jean from our partner Atrium, who's going to walk you through some of the best practices and services that they offer to accelerate success with Tableau CRM. Okay, next slide, please, Jean. Okay, so hopefully most of you know what Tableau CRM is, but for those of you that don't, it's our native analytical and AI tool based inside of Salesforce. And the idea there is because it's native to the CRM, it inherits the Salesforce security model, it follows all the same rules, procedures, and it really delivers. So it becomes more than just like an analytics and AI tool. It becomes more of a fast and accurate way to get visibility into what's going on inside of your Salesforce platform and to enable you to empower those users with actionable insights. And to do that, it's got AI built into it. So we've made it very easy for non-technical people to understand what's behind predictive scores and how to take action to improve outcomes. It's a complete platform as well, so there's nothing else that you need to license. It's just everything is included, all the storage, the governance, the management of it, some of the data management side of it, and obviously all of the visualizations, the in-memory data store, and the AI engine. Everything is there. And of course, because it was born in the cloud, it offers extreme speed and scale. So we can get those actionable insights into the hands of people at the point of client interaction. So that, in a summary, is what Tableau CRM is. Okay, next slide, please, Jean. Okay, so what I want to do here is just talk about some of the example use cases across the client engagement lifecycle that Tableau CRM tackles. So first of all, we're going to start with the acquisition. So typical use cases there are scoring leads and referrals, segmenting clients, understanding how successful marketing and sales campaigns have been from an ROI perspective, predicting the likelihood of a customer taking up an offer or a prospect, for example. And then when we move around to the engage side, we're talking about, again, win propensity, how long is an opportunity going to take to close, understanding complete visibility of your book of business, what's going on inside your pipeline, how to best manage opportunities, and activity reporting. Am I spending the right amount of time with the right people, and those type of questions. And then as we go through the customer engagement lifecycle, we move into the service side. And there, I mean, that's kind of like where we see, obviously, the contact center operational KPIs coming into place, but helping the users improve the net promoter scores, improve customer satisfaction, deliver next best action. So if someone calls in, or you have an outbound call and the conversation goes in a different way, and essentially becoming more of a proactive service organization where you can anticipate client needs. And then the intelligence piece, which is throughout all of this as well, is in the deepen section as well. So here we have the concept of an early warning system. So client attrition, what are the signals that we're seeing in the data that enables us to get ahead of someone leaving our organization and taking their business to a competitor? You know, who are the people within an organization that we should be focusing our time and attention on? And how do we best grow wallet share, you know, maybe referrals and cross-sell, upsell type opportunities? So next slide, please, Jean. Okay, So we wanted to just very quickly touch on the financial services app. So for some of you, you'll have Financial Services Cloud as your Salesforce platform. Some of you won't. And we do have an app specifically for Financial Services Cloud, but I should point out that everything that we're going to show to you today can be created outside of Financial Services Cloud. So you don't need it. It's not a prerequisite. It's just that this app provides some out-of-the-box functionality, which we are going to show. It covers over 100 KPIs across 40 dashboards and 20 data sets. And it's focused on two main personas, really. So we got the wealth management side on the individual contributor, the advisor, and then the manager and how they run the business. And then on the banking side, obviously the same situation. We've also got an insurance offering as well, which does the same. So that's and this is a product. So, and it's based on the FSC data model. So it enables us to drive out of the box insights with very little time, and accelerate time to value for organizations. Next slide, please, Jean. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to run a story, and Stephanie's going to do that. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through, just kind of set it up for her. So day in the life of a relationship manager. Now, next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to focus on 4 things that are important to a relationship manager. So first of all, how to proactively manage that book of business for the relationship manager, how to prevent client attrition, how to outperform the competition through cross-sell, upsell type opportunities, and overall, how do we enrich the experience for the relationship manager inside of Salesforce so they really drive value. Okay, next slide, please, Jean. And then we're going to pivot over to the team manager. Right, next slide, please, Jean. Okay, and here, a similar theme, we're going to focus on how the team manager can proactively manage all of their financial consultants, relationship managers, book of business, and also what kind of coaching opportunities that drives, how they can encourage their teams to get better based on data-driven insights. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague here, Stephanie Shaw. And over to you, Stephanie, to show us how to drive winning client interactions with Tableau CRM.
Okay, thank you so much, John. So hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Shaw, and I'm a solution engineer with Salesforce, specializing in Tableau CRM, formerly known as Einstein Analytics. And today, I'm really excited to be able to show you how a relationship manager or a wealth advisor and their manager can leverage the combined power of Salesforce, Tableau, and Tableau CRM. So our journey starts with an advisor who's logged into their Salesforce system from their kitchen table. And they have hundreds of assigned clients that they're responsible for. So where do they start? They need the customer 360, and they need it to be contextual, simple, and to provide easy guidance. So let's take a look at this homepage because this is perfect. In a single look, it gives them their KPIs, a view into what's changed, net new assets, goal planning, all of this right alongside their other homepage favorites, such as their tasks, their recent records, and their general business news. And this dashboard even allows to view additional full screen, in-depth dashboards. So when I click the view details, this example shows the book of business with segmentation filters across the top, KPIs, changes, trends, and Tableau CRM provides a very interactive experience, and our relationship manager can interact with this data. Now, what this speaks to is the power of self-service, because when a user wants to change what they're looking at, They shouldn't have to call IT, report writers, or DBAs. They ought to be able to get what they want, when they need it, in the manner that they want to see it in. Our relationship manager can also take a look at their product portfolio mix and see the different segmentations and a view over time. And here, they can see that there's been a significant growth in investments in the month of April. And this is something that they want to capitalize on. So they can scroll down and quickly add all of these clients to a marketing campaign. Now, the next thing that they want to look at is their earnings and fees. So the advisor wants to see what their earnings are, make sure everything is correct, see what that looks like over time, and see it at the individual grain level. And by the way, this is just a sample of the dozens of dashboards that come ready to go out of the box, pre-built for the relationship manager, ready to work with data for financial services. Okay, so now that our relationship manager or advisor has taken a look at their earnings and fees, their product portfolio mix, and seen an overview of their book of business, let's go back to that home page. Because this home page not only gives that quick one-stop shop view of what the advisor has top of mind, it's not just for being able to quickly access those full page dashboards that we just looked at, it goes further. It guides the advisor on what to do next. So if we click into white space, we can segment and see who owns what. And in opportunity, notice how these views provide all the clients and the reasons that they're worth focusing on. So maybe there's a topic that the advisor wants to discuss. Maybe the AI is indicating that the client has a high likelihood to increase their AUM. Or maybe there's been no proactive engagement in the past 90 days. It's easy to see who needs attention and why. And this is one of the capabilities that's native inside of Tableau CRM that's going to be different than all of the other BI tools out there. Because this is native to Salesforce, our relationship manager can capitalize on their Salesforce capabilities that exist. So they can log a call, create a task, or in a couple of clicks, send an email. And while that's sending, I want to point out that our relationship manager is still on the same page that they started on. So we're only a couple of minutes in, and they've been able to answer several important questions about their business and taken an action with ease. So now let's look at client health and how to maintain and protect the base. So our relationship manager or advisor has no less than 214 clients. And this view provides the advisor exactly what is needed to run their day with intention and efficiency. So here they see the customer lifetime value coupled with a propensity to attrit score. So they drill in, focusing on the top half of held away, a high attrition risk, and over 3 months of interaction. And now they can just start from the top. So I see Julie Morris here with a high customer lifetime value and a relatively high propensity to attrit. So let's open up that record. And now we're viewing Julie's customer record. And we're here to avoid that attrition, but what does our advisor really even know about Julie? They have hundreds of assigned clients after all. Well, this analytics dashboard helps the RM get information quickly by including the metrics, insights, and predictions, all aligned to strategic initiatives to know the customer and help them meet their financial goals. And notably, it presents some transactional data that RMs normally would not be able to easily access because it's off sitting in some external system. And it presents this right alongside the Salesforce data. That means that previously the RM had a swivel chair and log into another system, remember another username and password, but now their external data is brought into their day-to-day flow. Now, with digital and work from home, it has never been more important to understand something like engagement and all the activities that touch the client. So the calls, the campaigns, the back office cases. Here, we see a summary of the RM and campaign engagement. And we can see that Julie has received 6 digital campaigns, but only reacted to the 1. And it's important to note that for campaign and activity information, like all of this is indeed sitting inside Salesforce. So sure, the advisor could technically go digging and find it all for themselves, but this dashboard gives an easy experience where the insights find them in the flow of their day. So this isn't something that they have to be trained on or have to go digging for themselves. All right, but back to the job at hand, right? So Julie's propensity to attrit. So this number is higher than desired, and we see why in the leading causes. In this case, the data indicates that her particular amount of AUM combined with her portfolio review cadence puts her more at risk. But most importantly, we see exactly what the RM could do to improve this. And in this case, it's by changing the frequency of her portfolio review. So let's do that. Let's update this record from an annual review frequency to a monthly, where we're going to get the most lift. And immediately, Einstein's prediction updates. So that's real-time updates for a real-time work environment. So now that the advisor has reduced the likelihood to attrit by increasing Julie's portfolio review cadence, now the next logical step is to prepare for that review, which the advisor can easily do straight from their Salesforce screen. So here I can look at the client portfolio PDF and download this with a click. They can also see a fully in-depth analysis provided by the team's analyst admins on Julie's asset evaluation. And speaking of admin analyst provided data at the advisor's fingertips, they can also look at general market exposure trends. So they can see what's going on in different sectors, such as healthcare. So with all of this information, RRM is going to prepare for that portfolio review, look at what Julie's portfolio review consists of, and in all likelihood, they're going to want to research some additional equities to discuss with Julie. So from here, I can see what Julie has. And if I use my action menu from the dashboard, I can click on healthcare and say research equities. And I'll be taken out to a Tableau dashboard. Sorry about the lazy loading this morning. But this Tableau dashboard is already pre-filtered to the selection that I made back on my Salesforce screen. And from here, RRM can easily and quickly research those additional equities to discuss with Julie at her meeting. Okay, so for a quick recap of what we just saw. So we saw how an advisor running their day from inside Salesforce with analytics natively built into their homepage here and their record detail page here are able to leverage the power of Salesforce, Tableau, and Tableau CRM. And I want to underscore that we saw this with only 2 pages, their homepage and a record detail page. And that was on purpose. Sure, I could have shown you the dozens of chart types and graphs and formatting capabilities and query functionality available, but you're not coming to Salesforce for charts and graphs, right? You've no doubt already got tools that can do that. You're coming to Salesforce because, look, people have a job to do, and they're doing that job within Salesforce. So why not put analytics in the system that they're already using that can be accessed from anywhere, that you've already got a team managing and security put in place, You're coming to Salesforce to provide best-in-class technology, innovation, and expecting Tableau to provide powerful analytics that are intuitive, easy to use, quick to build, and seamlessly injected into the flow of your business users. And what you just saw is a brief example of that, how every day, every user can automatically discover relevant facts and themes based on their data. So now let's take a look at what this looks like for a manager. So I'm going to come back into my Salesforce system here. And I added a tab, Tableau CRM for financial services for the wealth manager. So when I click on this, we can look at what analytics are available to managers, because the Tableau CRM for financial services license gives you complete access to the Tableau CRM platform features, in addition to pre-built dashboards made specifically for the manager. So managers and executives can start here to evaluate the performance of their advisors or RMs. And because this is built native to Salesforce, it leverages your reporting hierarchy and security. So each manager only sees their team. And team key performance indicators here include assets under management, closed won business, and leads and referrals. And for any one of these, they can click Open Dashboard underneath to drill into the details behind those KPIs. So out of the box, the dashboards assume a structure of city, state, and advisor with filters for each, and you can customize these to reflect your own hierarchy. So we're looking at the team leaderboard. Each manager sees the aggregated metrics for their team across the top. So this view will vary by the manager, and in this case, the manager has 4 team members or advisors, and this could also be done by branch. And the manager can interact with this data. So let's say they also want to see the number of households and average AUM per household. And they can see this again at the individual grain level. So this manager only oversees a handful of advisors or branches, but you can see how they can easily identify their leaders and their underperformers. So imagine how powerful this view would be for a manager that oversees many people and branches. And in fact, it is often the case for wealth management that there are many RMs or advisors or branches, and there is a need to see numbers in various different ways, such as by location. And now the next question is, what are the drivers of success? So in my experience, organizations are pretty good at building some sort of leaderboard and having a regional view of KPIs. So you're tracking what you've done historically. Great. But now the next question is, how can that data be used to find correlations among the team regarding what actually drives success historically? So what are the behaviors that actually move the needle? And here, under drivers of success, the manager can see the positive correlation between the number of activities and total AUM, as well as, let's say, the average number of financial accounts and total AUM. Whereas the relationship between number of financial accounts and, say, I don't know, client tenure is more flat. So now that the manager understands what drives success, the next question is, what's the comparative trend among my team? How do their advisors compare to one another, and how has this changed over time? So here they can select the individuals on their team and compare this to others, and they can see how this has trended over time. Now, looking at something over time is really important when coaching new advisors or when managing through change, say a shakeup in leadership, a new business procedure, or maybe a global pandemic. So whether it's leading through change or for coaching, seeing changes over time is really valuable. And speaking of coaching, this leads us to our last question and the final out-of-the-box dashboard that I'll take the time to go through today. What can a manager do to help their team? So in this one-on-one helper dashboard, managers can select an advisor from the menu at the top and see the performance metrics and the rankings to help them get ready to provide relevant coaching. So in this case, I have Alan selected here, and I can see that Alan typically leads the pack in everything except for his win rate. And this one here, it's just blank because we're only a couple of days into the month. But if I select Brenda, I can see that she typically trails the others on the team in everything except for number of clients. So this would be a really great time to provide some relevant coaching to Brenda. All right, so for a quick recap of what we saw with the manager, we saw how a manager can use the dashboard to see and deep dive into their team's book of business. So they saw what their standings were, both in aggregate and individually, by region, and what actually drives success. And finally, they can compare team members both over time and by rank. And again, this is just one of the dozens of pre-built dashboards that come ready to go out of the box for you with the Analytics for Wealth Management app that comes with Tableau CRM for financial services. So we just saw how analytics from Tableau and Salesforce can power up wealth management organizations by empowering their advisors and their managers with the ability to see and understand their data injected into the flow of their day, which empower them to not only get the info that they wanted when they needed it in the manner that they wanted to see it in, but to take those actionable steps right from the pages they were already working in. Kurt?
Great, thanks, Stephanie. So we're actually going to transition into a polling question right now, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. So please take note of the question there. We're just trying to get a feel for everyone's when you're looking at new projects, which of these categories that you typically fall into. So if you could take a minute to answer that, I will start sharing my screen. So basically, from a standpoint of what we have available to you, there's a lot we have to offer our clients from a standpoint of enablements. So what I'll do is I'm going to start out, and I noticed, okay, so we have the results now. So it looks like we have a pretty good amount of folks that show me in enablements and jumpstarts. Okay, great. Do it for you is a little bit less, and then almost the same as the show me. We have tell you how to do it, and you'll take care of the rest. Okay, so that's good to know, and that's great reference for what we're about to dive into here. So from the standpoint of what we have for enablements, if you go into our analytics studio here, and this, of course, if you're a customer of ours. If you're not, there are other options that we have that I'm going to talk to as well. It's going to basically take you into this screen here, and you'll see we have a learning center, right? So from that learning center, we have this Tableau CRM training. So this is going to give you a good overview of everything that we have available. Now, granted, it says in-person training at the top there, but all of our offerings right now, of course, since the pandemic, are virtual. Hopefully we'll get back to some in-training classes one day in the future, but for right now, these offerings are all virtual. So with Trailhead itself, we do have Trailhead that most people are probably familiar with, where it's more self-guided training, and there's going to be different flavors there, right? So there's going to be Trailheads that are going to be more introductory type level, and then they're going to be focused on different parts of the solution. So when you're looking at whether it's building out dashboards or how you manage your data, there's also going to be ones that are going to be more focused on the AI side of things, where you're looking at discovery and building out stories and recipes. So with this, I will then say that with Trailhead here, we also have another option where you could focus with an expert and take courses as well. And they can run you through coursework there. With the academies here, this is one that's very popular with our customers. So with the academies, I'm going to click on just give you a view of when you click into that, it's basically going to give you a few different flavors, right? So with the academies, these come out on a quarterly basis. So this schedule needs to be updated, but it's going to be for Q2 going forward, May, June, and July. And this gives you an idea of some of the flavors that we have. So we have these 5. So there's one that's going to be like an intro to Tableau CRM, and that's a 2-hour course academy, and then all the other ones are going to be for 4 hours, where they're spread over 2 days and at 2 hours each day. So when you look at the intro one, it's really going to be for your novice folks. It's going to touch on building out a very basic dashboard, a simple dashboard, give you a feel for the product. Basic Tableau CRM is going to go a little bit deeper. You're going to have more experience building out dashboards as well as some more hands-on exercises. And then from there, this could be leveraged for more of an intermediate or experienced user that wants a simple refresher as well. You'll build out some data sets and get more hands-on with the product itself. Discovery is going to be a little bit more focused on the AI component, as I was starting to talk to you before, where they're going to give you some more hands-on experience building out stories, getting more familiar with some of the basic terms and models, as well as model metrics, and how to deploy some of those predictions and those predictive insights that you can leverage in Tableau CRM. And then the other 2 are going to be, one's going to be more focused on data. So this is going to be around connectors and data flows. And then finally, there's a more advanced one around advanced dashboard design. And this one is, I would definitely recommend for a more advanced user, or at least have some of the prerequisites of the other academies that we have listed here. So one key thing to keep in mind for these academies that we're looking at here are you need to be nominated to participate in these. So please feel free to reach out to your Salesforce representative, and we can definitely get you nominated and started in the process. Again, the other thing to keep in mind with that is these fill up pretty fast. So when you do reach out to your representative, please make sure to get a hold of the current schedule for Q2, which again is May, June, and July. And as soon as you can, get signed up for one of the academies, get nominated for one of the academies, and they'll follow up to let you know once you're in. So that's the academy. So I want to also talk about some of the other options we have here. So we have accelerators as well. So with the accelerators, this is going to be very similar to the academy, but this is going to give you a private session, a private setting. So these are also virtual, but it's going to be specific to your organization. And they're going to have different flavors as well. So it's similar to the academies where you're going to have certain ones that are going to be more of introductory, like our fast start options that you see here on my screen. You'll also have other options around, insights on how to, best practices around how to build your dashboards. There's also more around data and how to load the data and how to manage the data, how to wrangle the data. And then, of course, there's also, as you see in the bottom corner there, a review around what we call a health check. So it's kind of a status check to see where you are, make some other best practices, recommendations, and, of course, help you along if there's any challenges that you're running across that you need additional assistance with. So, again, the difference here with these accelerators is it's similar to the academies where there are going to be various different flavors depending upon your need. The good thing is it's not dependent upon an academy schedule. So once you do request one of these, it's going to be set up based upon your availability because it's specific to your organization. And that's something that your representative can help get started for you. Typically, the session itself, once it kicks off, you have an instructor that will reach out to you and your team, have about a 30 to 45-minute session, level setting on your priorities, where you are, as well as going over the agenda of the course. So the course, most of these courses are typically also 2 days, 2 hours each day. As I said, there's that first kickoff that's about 30 to 45 minutes, just a level set. And then sometimes if you have some open-ended items or questions that need further review, your instructor will set up an additional session just to cover those open items. But the idea with the accelerators is we're really focused on having one of our experts teach you how to fish and get you comfortable, with the process, whether it's, building out some dashboards, whether it's building out some stories and discovery. It's not they're not there to necessarily build out your use case, but it's to clearly understand your use case, get you comfortable with building out that use case with our tools, and show you the way to do that. So that's our accelerator program. So these are all, so far, everything that I've covered, the academies, the accelerators, and two more items here I'm going to talk about are the videos, as well as further down here, the Trailblazer community. So with the videos, this is a great resource. All these items, of course, are free to you and included. With the videos, these are a bunch of YouTube videos that we have on Einstein Analytics, Tableau CRM, I should say. And this is going to have a wide variety of items here, some good nuggets of information here, including some basic terms, how to build out data sets and dashboards. It's just going to run you through a whole gamut of things. There's about 35 videos in here, so it's definitely something that I recommend to take a closer look at as I scroll down, just to show you some more ideas around data prep and recipes. So there's a lot of good information in here to keep in mind. And I will then also, mention that, when it comes to our communities, Tableau CRM, we have a very large community of users. And there's, as you can see there's about 80,000 members right now. This is a great resource for asking questions, right? Phone a friend, if you will. Asking some of your peers and other clients that have Tableau CRM that are going through similar stages that you are, right? So this is a great resource. A lot of clients that I know who have leveraged it are very happy with it. Sometimes it's great to just reach out to a peer in a similar situation and find out how they managed and how they set things up, on their side. So this is something that is a great resource, and please make sure also to leverage it. So with that, as I said, these items are, included at no additional charge. These are definitely leverage, things that you should leverage, especially if you're looking just for, hey, show me the way, and, how can I run with it from here, right? And then, of course, we do have other options. Gene, I'm going to stop sharing now if you want to put up my recap slide. Gene? Okay, great. Thank you. So just to recap, so what we talked about, obviously, we have, our trailheads. So that's one of the staples around Salesforce, right? Being able to have that option where you can enable yourself at your own pace. There's a wide variety of options out there to learn more about Tableau CRM. We talked about the Academy training, right? These are going to be various different flavors, but remember, these are set up on a quarterly schedule. These you do have to be nominated for, which shouldn't be an issue as long as it's best to do it as early as you can once the schedule is available for that quarter, to increase your chances of getting into your choice of session. Then we also, of course, have the accelerators that we discussed. The accelerators, again, are going to be very similar to the academies, similar flavors, but that's going to be private to your organization, and that's going to be more flexible based upon your availability and schedule. And then, we also, of course, talked about the communities, great resource of almost 80,000 people to leverage, to phone a friend, to ask advice, answer questions, and sometimes you'll be answering other folks' questions, right? So it's definitely a good resource to leverage. So those items, again, there's no additional charge for any of those, and you have full access to these as our customer. The trailheads, again, you do not have to be a customer of ours. So with that, there's also the other side of this, right? So some folks want additional help, maybe have something built out, and maybe even if you're in that group that says, show me the way, maybe there's also a little bit of consulting or strategic, a strategic discussion around your analytics approach. That's something that we would recommend, a partner like Atrium. We have Atrium's one of our top partners, not just with analytics, but across the Salesforce platform. And I'm about to hand over to Gene Zeiger. I've worked with Gene on multiple accounts, and they're a great resource. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Gene.
Kurt, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and great job. Thanks for all the description. So a little bit about Atrium. Atrium is as Kurt mentioned, a Salesforce Platinum partner. We have had the pleasure and privilege of working with the Tableau CRM team, as well as the Salesforce teams overall, to really help people develop the strategy and implementation, and also support and manage the system, what we call systems of intelligence. We are probably one of the faster growing partners in the Salesforce ecosystem. And the reason for that is partly because of what we are seeing in the market and what everyone of our customers is experiencing. And that is that their systems in general, and specifically their CRMs, are becoming more than just a system of record, and even systems of intelligence, where systems of engagement, which Salesforce was very much and has been very much at the forefront of. But Salesforce is really adopting this notion of systems of intelligence, and that is all of the things that we've been discussing here and what Stephanie showed, and that is really leveraging insights within the flow of a day of a relationship manager or any Salesforce CRM user to truly drive their business in a data-driven way. And this is what we mean by being data-driven, really providing insights to action. But how do we get started? What are the key things that we spend a lot of time with our customers thinking about? Because at the end of the day, in order to really understand how to leverage AI and analytics within the organization, and specifically within the CRM, you really have to have the kind of core tenets that you have to have for most large initiatives. And that is, we got to have a vision, we got to have a business case. And then we spend a lot of time in defining the use cases that are most critical to you, because we really need to make sure that we're adding value and providing information to the right people at the right time during their daily journey, their weekly project forecasting reviews, all of the key things that people focus on. And so these use cases often align to some of the most business critical themes and key business goals for the organization as a whole, like how do we acquire more clients? How do we retain and grow our existing base? And how do we forecast better within our organization? We then spend a lot of time in setting up and putting together a program and a project timeline. How do we implement the entire solution? What are the phases? How do we approach everyone? What should be the resource plan? Who should be there from the team's organization, from the organization? Who should be there from Atrium where appropriate? And just as importantly, how do we create a target architecture that makes sense for you? Meaning, where do we get our data? Where is all the data coming from? How do we bring that data together, and how do we provide those insights within the CRM? And the way that we think about that is with a very basic but hopefully quite effective for a lot of our customers framework for getting to those use cases and the data. And that is, we start with outcomes. We identify those business scenarios. We look at the personas who will be the end users and the differences among them, as Stephanie was showing, whether it be a relationship manager or a regional manager or maybe an executive. Then we think through which actions do we need to take. So once I have the information, what actions should I be taking? Then we identify the data that's necessary and all of the data sources. And ultimately, the right use case means we have things are actionable within the CRM. We have the right data available, and it's providing business value to the end users and the organization as a whole. So to summarize, we thank you very much for attending. Thank you for spending the time with us. As an offer to you, as what I just described is something that we do to help people with, and we can do it for free for your organization, and that is run a workshop to do that, to go through that exercise, really identify the business goals, really create and define the business use cases, identify the data sources, and start to really think through the plan associated with implementation and how you get there. And so please feel free to reach out to John, Kurt, myself, or your Salesforce account executive, and we'd be happy to provide that to you. So thanks again for attending. We appreciate your time, and thanks all.